Alright, so I've been watching the Race to World First quite a lot lately, and I want to check out this video right here by Maximum. It's a clips video, by the way, so maybe if he ends up being in the bottom right, I'll move where I am. The bottom left, I guess, yeah. Alright, he's full screening. Let's see.
Good.
Ready?
Move now. Go, move,
This is
move.
Exile's cloak.
We have to do one more set of blazes, okay? One more set of blazes total, and remember we're darkness, the midnight perpetual. Blazes soon. Go left.
Let's
Go right.
Come on.
Got.
Come on. Come on.
Dude, it was really weird. Today, I felt way less...
Dude, this right here was such a good race, by the way. I think on the pull after Liquid won as well, Echo had a... Was it 0.2% or a 2% wipe? It was one of those two, I think, at least. It was really close as well on one of the pools. Or was it a 6%, maybe, that I'm seeing on chat right here? Either way, they had a really close wipe right after Liquid killed the boss. Which is kind of crazy, by the way. We could have had the scenario where Liquid killed the boss, and then Echo killed the boss on the pool right afterwards, which would have been just insane for the race as well. Or what would have been better is if they both killed it on the same pool, and it's all about just who killed it fastest in that pool, I guess.
Yesterday, my stomach was in knots and I couldn't eat anything, and I think I played it off decently well, but like I felt like shit. Today, it was like, I've done this before. Like, yesterday trained me for today. I felt completely... I didn't think we were going to win, to be honest with you, but I didn't feel, like, stressed about it. I don't know why. Like, I went to bed thinking we were going to lose, so when we woke up today and that wasn't true, it was just like, oh, that's cool, but we're probably still going to lose. So I just didn't, like, get, like, turned, like, all fucked up about it. I can't tell how hard this boss is. Because, like, I feel like the difficulty is... I mean, this is... part of the
I think it's
difficulty.
Vibrac in terms of RNG. I think it's very RNG.
It's so P1, like it's just the hardest P1 ever by so much that I don't know how much it affects the other fight. Like I genuinely feel like if we could start any other phase in this fight at full health from the beginning of the pull, you do a pull timer and you start in P3, P4, P2, anything, you would like fucking nail that shit in like 10 pulls, right? But the like other bosses weren't like that. Like Dimensius, that wasn't true of any phase. They were all equally difficult. This fight was just
phase
P1.
one is really just
P1 is just like insanely like the most insane shit ever.
Like,
dude, I didn't even know the boss died. I was just fucking locked the fuck in on calling and everyone just started screaming, and then I didn't know that Echo didn't kill it yet, right? So I literally got up and went over to Sang's computer and like didn't even celebrate yet. I was just like I asked Goop 3 times like, did they kill it? Did they kill it? Did they kill it? He said no, and then I jumped on Sang. All right, other questions. Do you think we slept the right amount of time? No hindsight.
I don't even know why. Maybe it's just because
I was slept earlier, right?
Okay, that's hindsight though. I don't think you can. I think it's so hard to make the decision to sleep earlier when it's not completely not possible that they wouldn't have killed it while we slept. I think maybe that became more relevant as we realized that P4 wasn't as free as we thought. We had,
yes.
Within 3 pulls, we had 2 everyone alive P4 attempts at 11:40 p.m. 20 minutes from then, making the decision to just then go to sleep, you can't, you know, like you can't do that. Like what if you do that and then you
I will say for me, by the way, if I was one of these people, I would not be able to sleep as much as they do whenever they go. I don't know how much they actually sleep, but I think they schedule in, according to the streams, it's about between 8 and 10 hours, like probably 9 hours, I guess, then on average, right? Which, to me, I would not be able to sleep that much when it comes to the Race to World First. I don't know, like whenever a new expansion comes out, I barely even sleep anyway, and just play the game way more, and whenever I just want to sleep as well, I just naturally wake up, and then I'm filled with this feeling of, oh, I just want to play. I just want to play this video game. That's all I want to do. And I can't go back to sleep. It happens every single time. Every single time an expansion comes out, every time something hype happens. Even when the Race to World First started, as somebody who's just watching, I'm just like, oh, Echo is pulling. Let me wake up. It would have been the same if Liquid was pulling, but it's just whenever Liquid starts pulling, it's usually about 7 p.m. over here, and if you're sleeping that long, you probably went to bed at a very weird time.
just go to sleep and then you wake up and you lose? You would be like, why the fuck did we do that? So like, I don't know. It definitely felt bad that we've had people popping M's and then we slept all caffeinated. I'm sure people slept like shit for sure. That no question I did.
I think I was under the assumption
did,
that
yeah.
the last phase was super, super free, but
Yeah, because like people were like,
phase
I
4 is
woke up
actually-
today and I got a bunch of ats on Twitter like, bro, Echo's gonna kill it. Where the fuck are you? It's like, guys, what do you want us to stay up late and then also sleep like no time at all? Like, there's no point of even sleeping at that point. You had like when bosses are this hard, you're not realistically ever gonna be able to. Yeah, I kind of felt like we could win today when I got here, and I knew it was getting late in their day because like we kind of had that feeling last night, right? I feel like in the back.
This was such a good race, by the way. I feel like both guilds were definitely able to win. I think Echo just choked a bit, which has happened before, and Liquid just played really well, as they have done before as well. As a viewer perspective, as somebody who has no idea how it is to raid at these levels either, there's somebody who's watching the race, and I mean, I've been raiding on Mythic level, but never on a World First level. But from me observing, Echo, whenever they have a good pull, they have a really good pull, but those good pulls can be very, or not even can be, they seem to be very inconsistent. For Liquid, it's usually less progress per pull, but very much more like stable progress all the time, and they seem more consistent. Echo has very good pulls, but inconsistently. Liquid has less good pulls, or like less marginally less on progression, but more consistently good pulls, if that makes sense. At least that's from my me observing. But I will say for phase 4, I think this was like their 4th or 5th time seeing phase 4, and they killed it. I think Echo had like many wipes, sub 10%. And even afterwards as well, I think they had 1 2% wipe, 1 1% wipe, 1 0.2% wipe. There's a bunch of like low percentage wipes. Meanwhile, Liquid went from 12% down to 0 or something crazy.
Back of all of our minds, we're staying positive, but like, I mean, this ended up becoming true, but like last night we were thinking, I mean, this is it's getting later and later, and we might not kill this tonight, and we might lose, and that kind of adds a little anxiety to like your pulls. And I feel like maybe they started getting that when we logged on today, right? Like it was getting pretty late in their day. They had some low pulls. I just wonder, did they like tilt in P1 at all today?
Someone told me they had a 1.8, and then they wiped in P1 like 20 times in a row.
Dude, one thing that massively helped us, by the way, is both comps had to make a change to gain boss damage, and we made one that required, by the way, somehow 0 relearning, and they made a comp change that, at least if I were to put that in our shoes, would probably cause some wipes, right? But like, I mean, Yips had some pulls where like he was definitely like getting used to playing the new class, like he felt less comfortable in the phases doing a few things. But dude, is anyone else like mind blown how easy dropping the blood DK was? And I think someone even brought it up. It actually felt easier. I think the DK grips were really challenging because there were 6 total grips that had to be gotten, and they had exactly 6 grips to do it, and that required all of them to grip perfectly when it was not entirely visually clear on who should be doing what, especially Yips's job. And then why this was easier is while all of those things are less efficient than Death Grip, it was just simply way more people were involved in doing it, so more people were carrying.
Can somebody tell me what exactly they did, by the way, instead of their grip? Because I'm trying to like think about, I'm betting they had a mix between Typhoon, Ursol's Vortex, and /or Ring of Peace. But I have no idea if that's true. But I just feel like you have to be able to move an object, or like in this case an NPC, or something that has to be gripped. You're doing that now without a grip. So Typhoon pushes things away from you. Nature's, what's it called again? What I just said? The Vortex, Nature's Vortex, or whatever the Vortex is called, drags things into it. And Ring of Peace pushes things away from it. I feel like it has to be any one of those 3 abilities, and they also had 2 Mistweavers, right? So 2 Mistweavers and a Windwalker, or did they even have a Windwalker? I don't know. If they did, that's potentially 3 Ring of Peace, right?
And trying and making sure that it was going to work. I think that's really why it ended up working. It was just more people, which also made me think that we're stupid for not having already done that. You know, like we assigned the evokers to, but there's actually a lot I have to take away from this tier that we'll talk about, but I actually think we did so many things fucking bad, which is kind of a good thing ending a tier, because like, especially when you win, you have things that you know you can work on. But Yeah, that
What I'm hoping for, by the way, for the Race to World first, because the guilds are getting so good right now. I hate to bring it up, but at the same time, I kind of love to bring it up, because I know it always triggers some people, but the 12-hour head start for NA, we need to have a global reset. Or not even a global reset, a global launch. The raid should come out at the same time for every single region out there, especially now that NetEase and / or Blizzard or something is having a incentive for Chinese guilds as well to try to participate in the Race to World first. Because if we're talking about the NA head start, what about the NA to China head start? China starts on, I think, Thursday. So like NA Tuesday, EU Wednesday, China Thursday. Massive disadvantage there for any Chinese guilds that even wants to be in the Race to World first at all, which is kind of crazy. But it's just crazy to me how we have such a fantastic way to market the game that takes over every streaming platform, especially Twitch. I mean, whenever they were killing the boss, they had 150,000 people watching at the same time, which on a World of Warcraft event, by the way, and that is just on one of the guilds. We had 3 guilds going. It's such a massive event that Blizzard does the bare minimum, or even less than the bare minimum, to facilitate. We should have a global release, and the better the guilds get, the more that stuff matters to me, if you ask me. Because, like, if we assume that both guilds are exactly the same skill, and they're just as smart as each other, the best thing a guild that is behind the other one can do is catch up. And playing catch up is never where you want to be. A race, the definition of a race is getting to the finish line fastest. If anyone has a head start, that is an advantage. Nobody wants to have a race where somebody starts ahead. It's just a bad design. And it feels even worse because in Classic, which came out in 2019, which is Classic, by the way, we've had global releases now for 7 years. Why can Classic have a global release for raids and retail can't? If anybody can answer me that, I will accept the NA head start. Like, why can Classic have a global release and retail can't? Meanwhile, Classic still has Tuesday NA reset, by the way, and Wednesday EU reset. But global raid release.
we should have had evokers and monks like looking at a left and right side of the boss from the very beginning, just to make sure that we were more in tune with that. We literally.
That's not even me trying to say, like, every time you bring up the head start, by the way, or the no global release, there's always some people, whether it's an EU Andy, NA Andy, a Liquid fanboy, an Echo fanboy, even a Method fanboy, there's always one person who has to be like, oh, so you're blaming Echo losing on the 12-hour head start, where? That's not really what's happening here. I've already said Echo could have won this, even though they didn't have that head start. I'm just saying, it's a race to world first, everyone starting at the same time, would make it more hype and would be more fair to everybody involved. And it's such an easy thing to do when they've already done it in Classic for 7 years.
We started this week a day behind, and it just didn't matter. That gives me a lot new perspective on the whole head start stuff. Like, because we were literally in EU shoes.
Okay. He's saying this, what he means here is that they opted to do a bunch of mythic splits and a bunch of heroic splits instead of going into the March of Quel'Danas. So Echo made a strategic move to do less splits and go straight into progress, which ended up with them having less loot. Which I know, if you're straight up only looking at Raider.io or WoW progress, you will see that Echo had a more item level than Liquid, which only tells half of the story, because the other half of the story is that Liquid had more of the very rare drops from the raid on both normal and heroic, which thanks to the unique effect that it has on those items, they simply give you a lot of benefits. I mean, we can take a look at a couple of them on heroic over here, right? Is it the necklace? If we go away from this for a moment. It basically, like, they didn't... Echo did almost no heroic march. which means they had nothing of this ring right here. Taking shadow damage greater than 15% of your maximum health gives you a barrier, absorbing damage, and increasing your avoidance. Liquid would have had way many more of this ring by having done more splits. You're seeing the wrong screen. Let me show you here as well. Raids, March on Quel'Donas, Loot, Midnight Falls. This ring right here, Finger of Midnight. Even though they had a less item level, that bonus effect right there is massive for the healers doing less healing. If the healers do less healing, they can do more damage. Like, one way of thinking about it, right? So that equals more DPS. And you also had the mythic splits, or even heroic splits they were able to do, on the other raid as well, because I believe even the Void Spire also has something like this on, was it a necklace in this case? Like this one, very rare. This one as well, equip. Dealing shadow damage has a chance to unleash a Void Stalker Sting, dealing shadow damage to your target over 10 seconds. So even though they had less item level, they had way more of the very, very rare items, both the necklaces and the rings. So once again, don't only look at the item level. The fact that Liquid spent a full day doing splits, they had more gear. And they had more geared characters as well. They were, for example, able to swap out into a Guardian Druid like this. And the Guardian Druid had full gear thanks to splits.
This week, straight up. We started a day behind them. They skipped all their splits, and it's just, you just catch up instantly because you can copy everything. That's so much cope. What specifically? Saying how the NA head start works or whatever? I mean, I know I'm probably not going to change your mind if you got upset about that. All I said was one fact, which was usually in a raid tier, like starting the second reset, EU is starting behind. That's true. This tier, we started behind because we fucked up and did an entire extra day of splits more than we needed to because we didn't gear properly. So like starting on Bellerin, we literally started like a full day of progress on that boss behind Echo because of that.
Yeah, okay, but okay, let me go back here for a moment.
Instantly
okay?
because you can copy everything. That's so much cope. What specifically? Saying how the NA head start works or whatever? I mean, I know I'm probably not going to change your mind if you...
Okay, so here's what you just... Okay. I know that I'm going to be defending Echo here, and I'm from the EU, so it probably looks biased. But the difference here is that, yes, while you started progression one day after Echo, you were able to do splits. In Mythic and Heroic raids, you had the raid out and available to do. When NA gets the raid for themselves 12 hours before EU, the difference here is that EU, when the raid comes out, can't do anything. Like, they are stuck in the previous reset still, not having access to the current reset. So it would have been the same if you didn't do those splits, if you were AFK for the full day basically, which you were not. You were doing splits, getting gear on both your mains and probably some alts as well. Getting way more rings, way more necklaces, way more crests, way more gear.
You got upset about that. All I said was one fact, which was usually in a raid tier, like starting the second reset, EU is starting behind. That's true. This tier, we started behind because we fucked up and did an entire extra day of splits more than we needed to because we didn't gear properly. So like starting on Bellerin, we literally started like a full day of progress on that boss behind Echo because of that. I'm just saying this is the first tier where we've had this week where we started the other way. But it wasn't because like anyone, like it's because we misplayed. Like we fucked up for that to be the case, but it was the case. What a day. What a day for so many reasons. Obviously 2 days in a row where it was like we had to come from behind, which is incredible. But dude, I just, so many roller coasters. What else is good about this race, bro? Major turnaround from week 1. But guys, we are in an ongoing process of, you know, re-signing.
Yeah, dude, this race, by the way, went from when the Void Spire Mythic came out, everybody was shouting, worst race of all time, and now we have the March of Quel'Donas and everyone is like, best race of all time. Such a roller coaster of emotions, man. But it's been great. I will say, Voidspire was still very undertuned, and I'm really sad about how that raid was. It's just, yeah, nobody should feel good about how Voidspire Mythic was. It just allows people that otherwise would raid LFR to do Mythic instead, which, why? Mythic is Mythic for a reason. Don't start dumbing down Mythic to be like, hey, yeah, dude, we know you suck at the game, but here's some free Mythic loot. Like, we don't need that. There's a reason why LFR is here.
With Team Liquid, our contract is over, I think, at the end of this year. And like, bro, if the race would have had bad viewership, that would have been so bad for us. And it was really looking that way after week 1. That's kind of also, side note, that's kind of why we didn't go dark as much. Because obviously that's not great if you can do that for the business side of things. But dude, the viewership over the last like 2 days has been fucking insane. Like, actually fucking crazy. Like, on the Race to World First as a whole, but also our guild. Just very insane. Man, I don't know if I'll ever feel in my life how I felt when specifically the feeling of we got the boss to 0% and then we realized there was a secret phase. That was...
The adrenaline drop of that was horrible.
It actually was crushing.
Yeah, I'm surprised we played as well as we did yesterday after that, honestly, because like that is, I think once the realization set in that not only were we gonna have to get there multiple times, but also with like more damage to even progress a phase. Like, we were kind of coping earlier, we're like, bro, the phase is free, and it is. I mean, it's the easiest phase of the fight, right? But it is it's so late in the fight that it's hard to practice it.
I think P2 is the easiest to do. We had like, dude, I think we wiped 1 in 25 times in P2. Like, if we get to P2, like, I'm pretty sure we.
I think
like 1 in
if we did
25.
P4 as often as we did P2, it would be just as consistent.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright, there we go. I'm gonna give you guys a link to the video as well, by the way. This race has been weird. It went from being the worst race to the best race to, yeah, no, it was just a good phase, man. A good race, I mean, in general. I really enjoyed the race. I didn't really enjoy all of the mythic splits, which I hope we never see again. I hope for the rest of the expansion here and for the rest of WoW, really, we only get 1 raid per tier. We don't need mythic splits. And if you ever give us more than 1 raid in a tier, there will be mythic splits. So stick to 1 raid per tier, thank you. Don't need to see many more mythic splits, man. But yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a link so you can check it out as well. Just wanted to see Max's thought on the race. Not gonna be reacting or watching a bunch of race content, but since I've spent my last 3 weeks watching the Race to World First, it felt like it made sense to talk about the race as well, and to see what he has to say about the race. Giving you a link.